Ladies and gentlemen, hey, hi, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for stopping by. Within the Warzone meta right now, we honestly got a lot of parity between the various different weapon categories. There's a lot of really solid options to run across the board. And with that today, I wanted to break down the new top 10 best meta loadouts you want to be running after the Season 4 Reloaded update, which obviously went through and adjusted various different weapons with different buffs and nerfs. So first things first here, as far as perks and equipment goes, this is the same on every single class setup. I'm always running smokes regardless of the map or mode I'm playing. For lethals, you got a couple of different routes here. Throwing knives, obviously great. T4 did get a nerf, but it's also still very strong. Stickies or Semtex is decent. Thermites are also pretty solid as well. Then for perks, same old for me. Mountaineer, double time, tempered, and flex. I do think though I want to revisit sort of the perk and equipment meta here in the coming days. If that's a video you want to see, because a lot has updated since we last talked about these really in depth, let me know if that's a video you guys would want to see by dropping a like on the video and or leaving me a comment down below. But yeah, that's the same on every single class setup here today, so we can just focus simply on weapons throughout. So this first loadout here, probably my number one go-to right now. I love the feel of this thing across the board. The BP50 did not get touched with Season 4 Reloaded, so it's still frying. Same deal with the Superi 46. So as far as the BP setup goes, I've been running the same one for several seasons now. If it ain't broke, don't fix it, right? Cast break attacks, that horizontal control makes this thing super predictable. We got the Lore 9 heavy barrel for better range velocity control and a little bit of firing idle sway as well, or firing aim stability on there too. We got the DR6 hand stop for better strafe speed, movement speed, ADS, and sprint to fire. This weapon is so low recoil that you don't really need a true underbarrel. Even in long range engagements, you can use this and still have aggression up close. It makes it just very versatile across the board. 45 round extended mag. Then I also go for the Moat 40 stock, which is better control and movement. Not really ever a combo you see a ton of here, so when you have an attachment like that, I think that's very valuable. And like I said, the setup really hasn't changed in some time, but it's just so good, I can't stop using it. It's one of my favorite weapons in the game. And the Superi probably is my number one favorite weapon in the game, especially with this build, which is based around strafe speed. It's nuts. You can strafe and just finesse so easily. So light barrel on here helps out with strafe speed. First, sort of benefit of that, and first sort of all in on the strafe option we've got here. DR6 hand stop also helps out a little bit with strafe speed, but also general movement, ADS, and sprint to fire. High grain just to keep that range good. Good velo on here as well for that hit scan range. It hurts the control, but this gun is so easy to use. 40 round extended mag, very basic there. Then lastly, and the most important part in my opinion, the cutthroat stock again goes all in on that strafe speed. 14% increase there, again hurts the control a little bit, but not a huge deal in the close range, and this ends up feeling really good. You can finesse, you can break ankles with this. The general movement speed is also still super fast, so across the board, such a good SMG setup. Now there's also a lot of sniper setups that are viable right now with some good sniper support options. The first of which, of course, is the KARR 98K. Now yes, this got a nerf. No, it's not out of the meta. It's still very good. The thing you'll notice though is that our max velo now is only 925 and our max range is 75 for our one-shot headshots, but it's still a two-shot to the body, which is why it's so good. Sonic suppressor on here is going to give you that best velocity and added range on there. The 7.62 long barrel is also better velocity and added range. Then high grain is better velocity and added range. Surprise, surprise. So you factor in those three, you get the best range, the best velocity possible you can get. I personally really like the look and feel of the Antlers AS7. It helps out with your ADS speed some when it's a clean scope. It is the slower reload though. It's not going to be reloading everything at once, so keep that in mind. If there's a different scope you like more that has the faster reload, feel free to go for that. It's just a matter of preference here. Then lastly, no stock. Better ADS, better strafe, better general movement speed. I like the feel of this. Makes it very aggressive for just run and gun style gameplay, and that pairs very nicely with the FJX Horus aftermarket part, the Jack Scimitar. This actually got buffed with Season 4 Reloaded, so it's got a great damage range for an SMG, a really fast TTK, better than the base Horus beyond 10 meters. Like, this thing is really fun to run around with right now. So we got that as one of our 5 attachments. We got high grain on here to make that range and velo even better. DR6 hand stop, yet again, no surprises there. I like the Ripper light stock here. You could also mess around with no stock too if you wanted. Obviously it's going to be a little bit faster, but the recoil will be more noticeable, so bounce back and forth between those two and see which one you prefer more. I also go for the Night Model 2023, just my preference of optic here. If you like the AW Gen 1 or a different red dot or something more, again, preference there. Go for whatever you find yourself to be the most accurate with. But yeah, this thing is a great sniper support option. Another great sniper combo is the KATT, which can obviously infinitely one-shot. Nothing's changed there. And the MCW, with the conversion kit on here, the Jack Raven kit, it's the best sniper support in the game. by far. So KATT one-shot build here, not changing whatsoever. If you're looking for a screenshot, I got you covered. We are going for the Nightfall Suppressor, better velocity, that's all we care about here. Zang Barrel, better velocity, that is all we care about here. And high velocity also gives us better velocity. Why? Because that's all we care about here. I do go for the quick build on here too, just so I can get those faster shots off back to back if I need to clean up or get that second shot to knock. Then the tac pad stock, better ADS speed, nothing too out of the ordinary with this setup and no real changes as of late. Then the MCW conversion, this thing just absolutely melts. So obviously we're using the Jack Raven kit as one of the 5 attachments. I like the Elo sight on here. Feel free to change this to whatever you're comfortable with. 40 round extended mag is the max. The really only true drawback of this build here is that you don't have a 50 or a 60 round, but this works fine because it knocks players so fast. DR6 hand stop yet again, and we got the Spirit Fire Suppressor on there, range, velocity control, and of course it keeps us off the mini map as well. This has become one of my new favorite weapons as of late because I'm doing so much sniping. This thing is just the perfect combo. And then another sniper option here, the Moors obviously can infinitely one-shot as well, and I actually pair this with the Kastov 545. A weapon that you might not expect to be so good for sniper support, but its TTK and its first and second damage range is ridiculously fast, and it's super easy to use. Now, on the Moors here, you want to be using the anti-material slug rounds. These are going to allow you to one-shot at any range. It kills your velo, though, and that's a big drawback of this, and why I'd say this is definitively the 3rd best sniper, because that velo, even with the ton heavy barrel on here, not great. You definitely got to worry about the bullet lead here. Razor Hawk laser sight, better ADS speed, just makes it a tad bit more aggressive. Super light 90 stock's going to do more of the same. And then once again, just behind the face cam, if you want a screenshot, we've got the quick bolt on there too, so you can get those shots off faster yet again. Pretty standard sniper setup, but it can one shot and it's feeling very good. Then for the 545 build here, this is curiously enough the same build that I would use as just a regular primary, like if I had this paired with an SMG or something. But for sniper support, this thing is aggressive enough, and like I said, its TTK is nuts. Now you can change up the optic if you're more close range based, you know, use a glassless or use a NIDAR or whatever. 60 round mag is going to work fine. You could try out 45 for sniper support, but 60 is the best safety net. Brew and heavy support, you could also downgrade to the the stealth angled on here, which also helps out with horizontal control, but it's a little bit faster. That'd be viable. 406 barrel on here, and then Spirit Fire Suppressor. You could run Cassus Break if you wanted to. Zem 35 even would be viable too for sniper support. All a matter of preference and what you like the feel of the most there. But yeah, don't sleep on this thing for sniper support. It does fry. Next up here, we got the Holger 26 paired with the Striker. Holger making a run for the best base primary in the game. That's a full auto weapon at least, right? Easy to use, fast TTK across the board. Striker actually got a slight buff with Season 4 Reloaded, so it's a great SMG choice. You got all fronts covered here. Close range, mid range, long range, you're set. Holger setup not really changing all that much. Spirit Fire Suppressor, Brew and heavy support for the better firing aim stability, the horizontal control, the idle sway. It's just making the gun very predictable. We got the factory barrel, better range, better velocity, better control on there. 2.5 times Eagle Eye Optic, and then I bounce back and forth. If I'm playing the big map, I like to use the Ascent Lord stock for control, just so I'm super accurate over longer ranges. If I'm playing Rebirth or something, I like to use high grain, so I get the better effective damage range and better velo there. You can bounce back and forth and see which one works the best for you. I think both builds are viable. Again, just sort of a matter of preference there. Then for the base striker here, Zem 35 compensator. You see this on a ton of my SMG loadouts because it's a great close range compensator, makes the gun easier to use and doesn't really hurt it all that much. Striker long barrel for better velocity and better range, just making it more efficient across the board. DR6 hand stop yet again. 60 round extended mag works great here with this fire rate. Then I go for the light stock just for a little bit of better movement speed. It's nothing too crazy, but it's a little something here and there. Overall, very reliable, very consistent SMG. By the way, as we are going through all the setups here today, if you are new to the channel, every single day I got you covered with meta breakdowns like these, the latest news and updates. Everything going on in KATT is right here, so feel free to hit that subscribe button and turn on those post notifications. And if you enjoyed this video or if you find it helpful, do me a favor and drop a like. As always, much love to everyone who takes the time to do so. Next up here, a build that I've really been enjoying lately, the MTZ556 paired with the normal FJX Horus on here. MTZ556 just keeps getting better and better and better. Here I'm actually going for an iron sight build. I really like the irons on this thing, so I got the 50 round extended mag, very basic. High grain rounds instead of an optic for that better range and velocity. We got Brew and heavy support, keeping it nice and consistent, nice and predictable. The Spirit Fire Suppressor. Then I also go for the heavy long barrel. I am just using the base gun here. Keep in mind, I know there's a lot of blueprints that are like pay to win because they decrease the visual recoil or stuff like that. If you have them, great. If not, it's not a huge deal. This gun is still super easy to use, and it absolutely melts. And then this base Horus setup, I've sort of been messing around with this one. It's a little bit different from some of my previous ones. I like the Horus a lot more when I am using an optic, so I do go for Night Arm Model 2023. We got the Ripper light stock on here. Of course, you want to go up to that 60 round extended mag if you got the conversion unlocked. And then I go for the Sin 9 long barrel. Helps out with some range and some velocity, makes it a little bit more reliable there. But this does lock like some of your underbarrels, so I go for the Kimura vertical. This helps out a little bit with your strafe speed and your general movement, but then a little bit of control too, so kind of the best of both worlds there. It's still got a super fast ADS and sprint to fire across the board, so it's going to be snappy and aggressive, and it's going to kill very, very quickly. Following that, another rifle SMG setup here, the Holger 556, low recoil, fast TTK, also got buffed with Season 4 Reloaded, and the Wasp 9, another very reliable, easy to use SMG. So for the Holger setup here, I like the glassless on here, just makes the thing an absolute laser beam, and it's a clean optic. The only drawback of the Holger 556 is that its 40 round mag is its max. You don't have a 50 or a 60, and quite frankly, you notice that this reload is slow and you're reloading a lot, so kind of a bummer there, but you can make it work for sure. Angled underbarrel, this thing is so easy to use, you don't need the drawbacks that Bruin Heavy has with the slowed ADS and everything, so you can be a little bit more aggressive with this. We got the Cryo 6 match barrel, range velocity control on there, and Spirit Fire Suppressor yet again, nothing too out of the ordinary with that. Then the Wasp 9 setup, haven't really adjusted this one in some time. Again, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Zem 35 compensator, DR6 hand stop, high grain on here, the 50 round extended mag. And then I do not like the irons on this setup at all, or on the gun at all. They're too bulky and too obnoxious for me. So I use an Elo sight, and I'm much more accurate, and I knock players way easier because I'm hitting all my shots with that. Hey folks, briefly want to chat about my friends over at Gamer Advantage. Of course, GA is no stranger to the channel here. Every single face cam video, you guys see me rocking my Horizon frames. These things are game changers. I've said it before, I'll say it again. There's no more important thing at my setup here, the computers, the monitors, the controllers, than these glasses, because these allow me to do what I do best day in and day out. If you're looking at screens for long periods of time, whether you're working, doing school, gaming, whatever it may be, you got to get yourself a pair of GA frames. They offer prescription and regular lenses. They've got a bunch of different colorways and frames, so a little bit of something for everyone there. And when it comes to sleeping better at night, reducing eye strain, these things are phenomenal. Best of all, if you want to throw in code IMMORTAL at checkout, you end up getting yourself a nice little discount as well. The link for that will be down in the description below if you're interested. Loadout number 8, a bit more of an experimental one, but I've had a lot of fun with it so far. Pulemyot with the conversion kit paired with the adjusted BP50 conversion, which now correctly uses SMG ammo. So the Pulemyot's low recoil and its TTK isn't nuts, but it's so accurate that it's going to be competitive enough, right? So we do got the bullpup conversion kit on there. We got the commando recoil reduction pad stock, so just makes the gun easier to use. 2.5 times Eagle Eye on there. Jack Annihilator long barrel, which you get from the conversion as well. Just better velocity and better range out of that. And then Spirit Fire Suppressor for even better velocity, even better range, and some better control on here too. Low recoil, easy to use. You'll have a pretty good TTK with this thing because of all of that, factored in. Then this BP50 conversion, this thing melts up close with that 9mm on there. So we got the Revenger kit, the Trust 4 grip tape just makes it easier to use across the board. And the Idle Sway Con here doesn't really matter for the close range gunfights. We got the high grain rounds on here to extend that range and that velo out some for the hit scan range and obviously the fastest TTK. Kimura laser sight for faster ADS and sprint to fire. Then Zem 35 compensator, a little bit easier to use. You're locked out of so many attachments here that you just kind of have to make do with what you got, but this actually works really, really well. Loadout number 9, another fun sniper one here. It's the Kar 98K, same setup that we talked about earlier on in the video, so no need to go through and detail all that again. And I paired this with the Holger 26 aftermarket part, the Burnout kit, which basically turns it into an SMG as well. This does use rifle ammo, but its TTK is also nuts. This goes crazy with the fire rate. You also want to throw on high grain on there for that better damage range. It's only 7 meters, which isn't much, but the second damage range on here doesn't drop off a ton, so it's still super fast and actually really good for sniper support. We got the skeletal vertical grip, better control, but also a little bit better movement speed. A Scent Lord stock just for some control so we stay accurate, and then also the Night Arm Model 2023 on here as well. Not the most conventional sniper support, but it works. And then lastly here, another fun combo. The Subverter is still pretty good, especially in the mid-range and early long range. And I pair this with the Superi. Again, same Superi setup that we talked about at the start of the video, so no need to go into all the details. As far as the Subverter goes here, I'm using Castus Brake, makes that S-curve recoil pattern a little bit more predictable. Dozer 90 long barrel, better range, velocity control, and idle sway, or firing aim stability rather, so keeps it nice and consistent and reliable. Bruin Heavy support's doing more of the same. 50 round extended mag. Then I really like the irons here, so I go for the heavy stock. You could also use high grain here, especially if you're comfortable with the control. This isn't super necessary, but it does make it a laser beam, and I like the feel of that. I'm very accurate with this build, but still is actually hanging around. I think people are kind of sleeping on it because it was nerfed so long ago, but it's still pretty good, all things considered. And that being said, that's going to wrap things up. Those are the top 10 best loadouts to be running in Warzone right now. If you enjoyed the video, do me a favor and drop a like. If you're new to the channel, or if you have not subscribed yet, let's change that. Hit that sub button on your way out to guarantee you're always up to date with everything going on in COD. But once again, thank you so much for tuning in, and until next time, take it easy, have an awesome rest of your day, and I'll catch you later. Peace out.